It is 3:14 a.m. The house is silent. You are exhausted, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to claim you. Then, it happens. A 4-second fragment of a pop song you haven't heard in 3 years begins to play. It isn't the whole song. It is just the chorus. A jagged, repetitive loop that refuses to stop. You didn't ask for this. You cannot turn it off. Your own brain has been hijacked by a ghost. Welcome to the world of the involuntary musical imagery. We call them earworms, but they are actually a sophisticated failure of the human operating system. This isn't a minor annoyance. It is a neurological phenomenon that affects 98% of the population. For most, it happens once a week. For some, it is a daily, debilitating intrusion. We have spent decades treating this as a quirk of pop culture. We blame catchy melodies or annoying jingles. But when you look at the data, a much darker picture emerges. This isn't just about music. This is about how your brain processes unfinished business. It is about a biological glitch that the music industry has learned to exploit with terrifying precision. The numbers suggest we are losing our internal silence. In a world of constant connectivity, the earworm has become the ultimate resident of our subconscious. It is a parasite that pays no rent. To understand why this happens, we have to stop looking at the radio and start looking at the architecture of the mind. We have to look at the numbers. The search for the why begins in 1927. A Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik sat in a busy Vienna restaurant. She noticed something strange about the waiters. They could remember complex, unpaid orders with perfect accuracy. Yet, the moment the bill was paid, the memory vanished. The order was deleted. This became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. The human brain hates an unfinished task. It creates a state of cognitive tension. It keeps the information in a high-priority loop until the cycle is closed. Earworms are the Zeigarnik Effect applied to sound. When you hear a song, your brain begins to process the structure. Most pop songs are built on a specific tension and release model. If you hear only a fragment, or if the song has a particularly open melodic structure, the brain gets stuck. It is trying to resolve the tension. It is trying to finish the order. But because you aren't actively listening to the song, the brain simply restarts the loop. It is a stuck drawer in your working memory. The data proves this isn't random. In 2016, Dr. Kelly Jakubowski conducted the largest study of its kind. She analyzed 3,000 people to identify the formula for an earworm. The results were chillingly consistent. Sticky songs aren't just good. They are mathematically designed to be inescapable. They share 3 specific traits. First, they have a faster tempo. Second, they follow a generic melodic shape, usually an up and down pattern like a nursery rhyme. Third, they contain unusual intervals. Think about Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. The ra-ra-ah-ah-ah section is a masterpiece of neurological manipulation. It is simple enough for a child to mimic, yet it contains rhythmic leaps that the brain finds surprising. The brain loves the familiar, but it is obsessed with the unexpected. When a song balances these 2 things, it creates a cognitive itch. This itch occurs in the primary auditory cortex. Using fMRI scans, researchers at Dartmouth College found that when people listened to a familiar song with segments removed, their brains filled in the gaps. The auditory cortex remained active during the silence. Your brain was literally singing to itself. The shocking proof is that your brain cannot distinguish between a real sound and a remembered one in this specific region. Once the loop starts, your biology treats it as an external reality. You are not remembering the song. You are re-experiencing it. The frequency of these episodes is increasing. Data from the Global Earworm Project suggests that the rise of digital streaming has shortened our musical attention spans. We no longer listen to albums. We listen to 15-second hooks on social media. We are feeding our brains a constant diet of unfinished tasks. We are creating a permanent state of Zeigarnik tension. The average earworm lasts between 8 and 16 seconds. It is a bite-sized piece of data that fits perfectly into the phonological loop, the part of our short-term memory that handles auditory information. This loop has a limited capacity. It is designed to hold a phone number or a short instruction. When a catchy chorus gets in there, it crowds out everything else. It is a denial-of-service attack on your own consciousness. To understand the scale of this, we must look at the Earworm Industrial Complex. Music is no longer just art. It is a battle for stickiness. In the 1950s, a hit song might have a 2-minute build-up. Today, if the hook doesn't arrive within the first 5 to 10 seconds, the listener skips. This has fundamentally altered the DNA of songwriting. Producers now use the millennial whoop, a specific interval between the fifth and third notes of a major scale. You've heard it in Katy Perry's California Girls, Kings of Leon's Use Somebody, and countless others. It is a sequence that the human brain is evolutionarily predisposed to find pleasing. It mimics the frequency of a mother's lullaby. The financial implications are massive. A song that stays in your head is a song that gets searched on Spotify. A song that gets searched on Spotify generates royalty revenue. We are seeing the rise of neuropop. This is music engineered using data analytics to maximize retention. Companies now use brain-computer interface technology to test how listeners react to specific chord changes. If the stickiness score is too low, the song is rewritten. This isn't a conspiracy. It is an economic necessity. In a saturated market, the most valuable currency is the real estate inside your skull. If a brand can get a jingle stuck in your head, they have achieved a level of top-of-mind awareness that traditional advertising cannot buy. You are effectively performing their marketing for them, for free, while you brush your teeth. But there is a deeper, more physiological layer to this. It involves the Heschl's gyrus. This is the area of the brain responsible for auditory processing. Studies show that people with earworms often have a thicker Heschl's gyrus and a larger right frontal gyrus. This suggests that some of us are physically wired to be more susceptible to these loops. It correlates with certain personality traits. People who score high in openness to experience are more likely to have earworms. So are people with obsessive-compulsive disorder. The brain is a pattern recognition machine. It is constantly scanning for symmetry. When it finds a song like "Can't Get You Out of My Head" by Kylie Minogue, it finds a pattern that is almost perfect. The song is a circular composition. It doesn't have a traditional beginning, middle, and end. It is a flat circle. This is why it is the most cited earworm in history. It provides no exit ramp for the brain. We must also consider the search and retrieval failure. Often, an earworm is triggered by a cue. You see a bottle of a certain brand of soda. You hear a word that rhymes with a lyric. Your brain retrieves the song to match the cue. But because the cue was fleeting, the retrieval is incomplete. You get the chorus, but not the verse. You get the rhythm, but not the melody. The brain then enters a retrieval loop, trying to find the missing data. This wasn't a series of isolated mistakes. It was exactly how the system was designed to work. The system is your brain's own efficiency. It wants to keep information warm and ready. But in the modern world, we have weaponized that efficiency against ourselves. We are surrounded by earworm triggers, ambient music in grocery stores, auto-playing videos on news sites, the sonic branding of Netflix or Intel. Each of these is a small, open file in your mental operating system. When you look at the statistics of musical obsession, the numbers are staggering. The average person will spend nearly a year of their life experiencing an earworm. That is a year of cognitive processing power diverted to a meaningless loop. We are talking about billions of man-hours lost to Baby Shark or Stayin' Alive. This is a hidden tax on human productivity and mental peace. It is the cost of living in a world that refuses to be quiet. The implication of the earworm goes far beyond music. It reveals a fundamental vulnerability in human consciousness. We like to believe we are in control of our thoughts. We believe that we choose what to think about. The earworm proves this is a lie. Our internal monologue is easily hijacked by external stimuli. If a simple 4-chord progression can take over your brain for 48 hours, what else is getting in? This is about cognitive sovereignty. In the age of attention extraction, the earworm is the patient zero of mental manipulation. It demonstrates that the brain's working memory is an open port. It can be accessed without your permission. This is why researchers are now looking at earworms as a way to understand more serious conditions. Schizophrenia, for instance, often involves auditory hallucinations that share similar pathways with earworms. By studying why you can't stop hearing, don't stop believin', scientists are learning how to treat people who hear voices that aren't there. There is also a link to anxiety. The brain uses earworms as a distraction mechanism. When we are stressed, our brain often defaults to a repetitive loop to occupy the conscious mind and prevent it from dwelling on the source of the stress. It is a form of mental pacing. Like a tiger pacing in a cage, the brain paces through a melody. It is a soothing, if annoying, rhythmic anchor. However, this comes at a cost. The cognitive itch requires scratching. The only way to stop an earworm, according to the data, is to complete the task. You have to listen to the song in its entirety. You have to show the brain the end of the file so it can close it. Another method is competing tasks. Chewing gum has been scientifically proven to reduce earworms. The act of chewing interferes with the subvocal motor movements required to sing the song in your head. But these are just temporary fixes. The wider implication is that we are losing the ability to experience true silence. Our environments are designed to be auditorily rich. This constant stimulation keeps our phonological loops perpetually full. We are becoming a species that is never truly offline. Even when we sleep, our brains are processing the hooks of the day. The earworm is the symptom of a hyperstimulated society. It is the sound of a brain that has forgotten how to be bored. We are seeing a shift in the economy of sound. Silence is becoming a luxury good. Noise-canceling headphones are a billion-dollar industry because we are desperate to reclaim our internal space. But you can't noise-cancel a memory. You can't block a signal that is generated from within your own auditory cortex. The earworm is the ultimate intrusive thought. It is the one thing you cannot run away from, because it is running inside you. The investigative journey into the earworm leads to a singular, uncomfortable truth. We are not the masters of our own silence. We are biological machines with a specific set of flaws, and those flaws are being mapped and exploited by the world around us. The earworm isn't just a song. It is a reminder of our own lack of autonomy. It is the ghost in the machine of our own evolution. We have built a civilization that thrives on the unfinished task. We are kept in a state of constant, low-level cognitive tension by notifications, cliffhangers, and catchy choruses. The earworm is simply the most honest expression of this reality. It is the sound of a mind that is perpetually loading, but never quite arriving. As you lay in bed tonight, the silence will return, but it won't be empty. Somewhere in the folds of your temporal lobe, a melody is already waiting. It is waiting for a cue. It is waiting for a moment of weakness. It is waiting to start the loop again. You will try to think of something else, but the rhythm is already there. It is a part of you now, a small, repetitive piece of code that you can never delete. The loop begins again. The silence is just a pause. The song never truly ends.